it's a cliche. Um, every crisis throws up many opportunities, and I think a lot of you see that. If I look at kind of what a host of clients across Asia are doing, I think I see three things. I see that there is a lot of sort of focus on customer engagement and a move away from acquisition. And I think the theory people have now is nobody's going to really change brands in these tough times. And so really, you don't want to spend time on them. What you want to do is spend really good time with your existing customers. And engagement can be done in many ways. And some of you have already spoken about it, but I've seen companies that really segment their audiences, and let's say look at the senior citizens. Senior citizens in this era are going through are probably even more disadvantaged because everything's going digital, everything's sort of contactless, and so doing things to educate them. Some banks are providing great tutorials, online tutorials, very easy to understand for someone who's about 60. Great advice on what they should be investing on. Those are some things we see. There are companies that are talking about how to drive sustainable living. So they talk to their existing customers, and it's not about just saying, hey, at the end of the day, I need you to buy my brand, but I care for you. And so how do you manage the life cycle of your clothes? Because in the lockdown, it was just very difficult to go out and do dry cleaning or washing, and how do you make sure that the longevity of what you wear can be increased? So there's all these smart things you can do in terms of engaging with customers. So I think that's sort of number one. Number two, and I heard a lot of you talk about new habits, new consumer behaviors. I wouldn't go into that, but you've got to work off those. Whether it is the fact that, and they call it the great indoors, people have really moved in-house now. It's like everything is kind of driven from home. And so your ability to deliver solutions and products that can exploit the fact that your customers are at home is increasingly important. Whether it's sort of the way you visually show your brand, through the screen, whether it's really about museum. We have a client who is in sort of the cultural activity space, and they're pushing out really rich experiences on tours in their museums, online tours. So I think that's something we see. So really working off these new consumer habits. I heard you all talk about people moving online. Absolutely, everyone's sort of moving online, and it's a world that I think will not sort of go backwards. It'll go forwards. And the third is messaging, and being very focused on not being cutthroat in selling, but cutthroat in caring, right? I think the relevance of a brand's narrative is going to be driven by how much empathy it shows. They say that it takes 10 good messages to really kind of reverse the damage of one bad message, right? And I think that's how powerful messages are. And I think they've got to be relevant and really caring. So if you're a toothpaste brand, you're selling toothpaste, as a consumer, I'm not really interested in buying new toothpaste. I know I have to buy it. But what you can tell me, what you can message to me is, what should I do when I have a toothache and I can't go to the dentist because I'm in lockdown? And I think thinking laterally with your messaging is very important. And then you've got also the sort of the serious damages you can do through wrong messaging. So we've had a client in the apparel business sending messaging around clotheswear for seniors. It's reaching some households where the household has had a COVID-related death for a senior member of the family. And that sort of really can be damaging. So I think those are the three sort of big opportunities. I think three areas where people are spending time. And yeah, I mean, one has to be very adaptable. So just staying in touch with their consumers is important.